G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And Honda has just launched the new 6th generation CR-V. And in this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about Honda's brand new family SUV. One feature that all new CR-Vs have that I'm quite fond of is gas struts. No more poor people props to hold the bonnet up when taking a look at your engine. Speaking of engine, there are two available across 3 different trim levels. You can either have a mostly carryover 1.5 turbo 4-cylinder engine with 140 kilowatt and 240 newton meters, and it powers either all 4 wheels in the all-wheel drive Sport or just the front 2 wheels in the 2-wheel drive Sport 7-seater. Or there is now a new top spec model, the RS, which has Honda's HEV Hybrid powertrain. It has a 135 kilowatt and 315 newton meter electric motor which powers the 2 front wheels, and that is fed by a battery pack in the boot, and the battery pack is charged by either regenerative braking from going down hills or coming up to a red light, or by running a 2-litre petrol engine in the background. The petrol engine is not connected to the wheels through a transmission at all. It does have a fixed ratio which it can engage at motorway speeds, but for all intents and purposes this is an electric car with a 2-litre petrol engine on board to help generate more electricity where necessary. So now let's take a moment to discuss the interior differences between all 3 new CR-Vs. All of them have black leather interior. You can no longer get like a touring spec like what you used to have with the cloth interior. The 7-seater Sport and the RS both have a sunroof, whereas the all-wheel drive Sport doesn't. The RS has some extra sort of red stitching here on the steering wheel and on the seats as well. The RS also has a fully digital gauge cluster here, whereas the Sport models have a little less to show, and it's part analog, part digital like what we saw in the Civic Sport. However, all of them have the same infotainment system up here. You've got front and rear parking sensors, it's got a reversing camera, they have built-in Garmin navigation, they have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, Bluetooth, among various other things that it can show on there in a nice, easy to use fashion. It's very, very snappy to use, feels like my iPhone to use, really, it's really quite good. And the RS also has the Bose stereo system. They all have dual zone, fully automatic climate control, they all have heated seats, because of course they all have leather interior. All of them have hill descent control, which when going down a big steep hill like this, you can turn it on. It's kind of like low speed cruise control for going down hills. All of them have a very comprehensive suite of active safety features that work very, very well. They all have forward collision warning and road departure warning, and they all have adaptive cruise and lane keep assist that works at any speed. The adaptive cruise, you can set it 100 k's an hour, and if somebody in front of you slows down to 0, so long as they do it reasonably gradually, like coming up to a red light or something, the car will bring you to a complete stop all by itself, and then when they take off and go back to 100 again, it will go back to 100 all by itself without you having to touch the pedals at all, and it will do a lot of the steering for you as well. The lane keep assist is centering, it will keep you in the middle of your lane and help you to sort of follow the lines. It's very, very clever. They all have paddle shifters, which on the hybrid one controls how much regenerative braking you get, whereas on the Sport models it controls sort of what gear you're in with the CVT, and they all have auto wipers and automatic LED lights with fog lights as well. Backseat room on the 5-seater models is absolutely excellent. There is a monstrous amount of room, and the boot space is really not bad either. The seats don't fold down completely flat like they used to in the last one, but you can still fit a lot of things inside. The 7-seater one, realistically those 2 seats in the back are only good for kids, and the boot space is very minimal with the seats in place, but if you fold them down then you have enough for day-to-day shopping and kids stuff. So now it's time to take the CR-V on my standardized fuel economy route to see how it compares with the Jazz and ZR-V Hybrid from the same generation.
And after driving both the CR-V RS Hybrid and the all-wheel drive Sport from the Newlands New World, down the gorge, through town and back up to the New World again, a distance of about 25 kilometres of mixed driving, the Jazz Hybrid did 4.1, ZR-V Hybrid 4.5 and the CR-V Hybrid 4.9. The petrol Jazz did 5.2, ZR-V Turbo 6.5 and CR-V all-wheel drive 7 litres per 100k. So as predicted, with each model, as the power and the size of the vehicle increases, so does the fuel economy.
the CR-V RS. Because it's hybrid, when you turn it on, it doesn't make any noise at all. It really is quite nice actually to drive a car that is this quiet. I'm not a huge EV fan because I like the car to make some noise, and the good news is if you put it up into sport mode and give it some beans, it certainly does. You can hear there it kind of does those fake shifts because the petrol engine is completely separate from the rest of the drivetrain, which means that Honda is free to program it to do whatever it likes. And in all of their latest hybrids now, it does those sort of fake gear changes. And when you get it out onto the motorway, there's a few really great features that it has. One is if you put it down into B mode, you can use these paddles to control how much regen braking you get. The adaptive cruise and lane keep assist work flawlessly. If you set them up, you can see here the lane keep assist is actually strong enough to steer you around corners all on its own, but you are encouraged to keep your hands on the wheel, of course. But for long trips, it makes it really rather relaxing to use, frankly. Driving the CR-V all-wheel drive Sport. Naturally, this car is not a sports car, but it is lovely to drive. You sit nice and high, which gives you a very good commanding view of the road ahead. There is an enormous amount of adjustment in the seat, and it's unbelievably easy to drive. And while it's no Koenigsegg, it has enough power to overtake if you need it to, and the handling, because it's based on the Civic platform, is really quite good. A little bit of body roll, but it keeps it to a relative minimum. If we turn it into this corner here, you'll see that actually it hooks around really quite nicely, and the four-wheel drive is brilliant. The only areas for improvement, so far as I can see, it would be nice if it had the full screen gauges of the hybrid one. It would be good if it had a 360 camera, because the ZR-V does, and none of these CR-Vs do for some reason. It's just a spec thing. Other than that, unless you are expecting Type R levels of performance and handling, this is a really great car. As far as SUVs go, it drives nice, it's very quiet, it's very refined, the steering is quick but it still has decent steering feel, and you can ape your way up a road like this in a family SUV with a CVT gearbox, and you know what, I've got a smile on my face. It's fun, I like it. Well, there we go. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Kiwi Car Life, and I hope it's given you all the information you need to know about Honda's latest CR-V. And if you want to see some of my other Honda reviews, then click on the links popping up right about now, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next time.